All right, hey, it's Rob, and today is the 31st anniversary of the terrible Northridge Quake in Los Angeles. I should have done a video for the 30th anniversary last year, but who knows? Maybe I did, and I forgot already. Anyway, going to share my happy memories of the Northridge Quake, which happened on January 17th. 1994 at 4:31 in the morning. I'll never forget that. My alarm was set for 4:45, so 10 minutes later I would have been up anyway. I was working as a production assistant on a TV show for NBC called Hearts of the West with Beau Bridges and Lloyd Bridges, who was still around then. And one of the fun facts about it is that I would have been right under the freeway overpass, which collapsed. That was on my way to work if this had happened maybe an hour later or whatever. Anyway, so I just remember all the shaking. It was intense and insane, and I did get into the door frame that, something they tell you to do, and I remember screaming a word that started with F for about 45 seconds. And finally it stopped and settled down, and I was living with a roommate at the time, and we kind of stumbled out of our apartment. And, everything was on the floor. The TV had, fallen to the ground, and the fridge had opened, and all the spaghetti sauce had, crashed all over the floor. The glass was all broken. And I heard this person, whining from the next apartment. And for some reason, their door was open, or maybe one of them had gotten out or something. I don't remember. But so we had to come in and help, and we went in their bedroom, and they had these two huge bookcases on either side of their bed, like 8-foot-tall bookcases. Not really smart. And they had collapsed in, and at least one of them, I feel like both of them were, but I don't know. Someone was in the bed with a bunch of books on them, and they weren't hurt. And we just said, all right, get up, get out of here. You got to get out of here. So we stood outside. We walked around the neighborhood a little bit. We really didn't want to go back in the building. This was way before cell phones or anything, and there was a lot of destruction. A lot of buildings had collapsed. There were fires we could see up in the hills. One of the main things that happened is, we were all still living in apartments back then, and the first floor of the apartment basically collapsed into the underground parking garage, which is how a lot of those buildings in the valley were set up. And it's amazing more people didn't get killed because, literally these cars were, squashed, like a bug. So anyway, one of the things I remember was my stomach was very upset. I needed to use the restroom, and there was no water. So I took my roommate's 2-liter bottle of Coke and poured it in the toilet tank to use that to flush it. And he was very upset with me because he wanted to get a drink or whatever. At some point, we went back into the apartment, and I had to tell him that I had used his 2-liter bottle of Coke for the toilet. Anyway, we eventually got to call our parents or whatever. The phone started working again, and those are my main memories of it. We hung out at my roommate's office. They had some food there and stuff. And like I said, we really didn't want to be back in the building. Our building had just like cosmetic damage, so we could still live there. But crazy. There were many aftershocks, of course. After went back to work, I think the next day. Like I said, I was working on this TV show, and I remember just standing out in this parking lot or on a road or something or other, and one of the huge aftershocks started happening. And I knew I was safe. I was not around anything or whatever, but it was still even scary, even just to be standing out, in an open area or whatever. So, pretty intense experience, definitely memorable. Something I certainly, would never want to go through again. And one of the reasons why I eventually moved from LA is in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, well, there's just another one of these right around the corner. It could be 5 years from now or 10 years or who knows. But at some point, you're going to have to go through this again. And, it's fairly traumatic because they always happen, or it seems like they always happen when you're asleep in the dark. Can't see anything, it's shaking like crazy. You got nothing to hold on to. And, crazy experience for sure. And one I will definitely never forget. Oh, yeah, I remember a couple other things. I had a betta fish in a bowl, just a single fish, and that came crashing down, and the glass broke on the floor. And I thought, all right, well, my fish is dead. And we went back in maybe 3 or 4 hours later, and in a little teeny puddle of water, I saw my fish's tail move around. So it had somehow survived in a little puddle of water on the floor, and we put him in a glass or something or other, and lived for a long time after that. Also, another memory was we had a lot of shattered windows on Ventura Boulevard, and the neighbors all kind of took turns, guarding these businesses to make sure there was no looting or anything until the owners came.